What do you get when an ordinary salaryman goes through a training regime of 100 daily push-ups, sit-ups and squats plus 10 kilometers of daily running for 1.5 years? That's right, you get hair loss and supernatural strength that allows you to become the strongest man in the entire universe. Saitama is the titular character of the One Punch Man anime, manga and webcomic. The funny thing with this being that he is probably the most average looking guy in the entire series. He is literally just a random bald guy, but the fact that people pick up on this in the actual show is such a fun concept to me, I absolutely love it. Before we get into Saitama's abilities, which are not really expensive funnily enough, I feel like I do have to mention that scaling Saitama to Dragon Ball or anything really is pretty much impossible. The reason for this being that even in his own universe, his limit is simply unknown. We have never seen an enemy or ally match or surpass Saitama or come even close. The only way we can quote-unquote scale Saitama to other anime is by trying to match the villains of One Punch Man to similar villains in other anime. Since Saitama has never lost before, we can't really determine his ceiling, which makes things pretty difficult. Luckily for us, One Punch Man actually has quite a few references to Dragon Ball, so we can use those to start things off. But before we get to that, we are going to discuss Saitama's abilities, or lack thereof, because he really has no super special powers, but whatever, here we go. So to keep things really simple, Saitama is really fucking strong. No really, that's pretty much it. There are no super transformations, psychic powers, energy beams, elemental powers, etc. Saitama is just strong as hell. His training regime just granted him the power to punch really hard and he became really fucking good at that. Saitama possesses seemingly just limitless physical strength and is capable of one-shotting pretty much everything with very little effort. His punches quite literally just disintegrate his enemies on a molecular level, or in layman's terms, they just explode on impact. His physical strength is not limited to just his punches though, his legs are pretty damn powerful too. Just taking a look at the time he jumped back from the moon to the earth during his fight with Boros, we can safely say he never ever skipped leg day. He also uses the toothpaste that 9 out of 10 dentists approve of because he can stop blades swung at him with his teeth. Those chompers are hard as hell. I mean, this man literally sneezed half of Jupiter the smithereens with a serious sneeze. Like, bro, you have to explain to me what the fuck a serious sneeze is supposed to be. Do you sneeze extra hard? Do you sneeze in a particular way? I need to know this for wholesome scientific reasons. Absolutely nothing devious or nefarious going on here, I swear. But aside from being very strong, Saitama also has pretty good speed and reflexes. He was able to outspeed both Flashy Flash and Sonic effortlessly. He was also able to outspeed Goro, who was able to create an after-image light pattern in just like 0.0013 seconds. To those of us who are pretty bad at I can't speak today. To those of us who are pretty bad at math like me, that equates to being pretty damn fast. Another thing Saitama has going for him is that he doesn't really seem to ever get tired. The few times he is shown to be out of breath or just have light symptoms of exhaustion, he just recovers 2-3 seconds later. Finally, Saitama just seems plain indestructible. No oxygen? No problem, he can just hold his breath. Radiation that could kill any other human in seconds? No problem fam, he is already bald anyway, what's the radiation gonna do? Scorching heat or freezing cold? Nothing a few jumping jacks won't fix, am I right mates? Now, I feel that this pretty much covers his abilities. He has a few named techniques, but honestly it's a bit of a stretch to call them actual techniques. He has what he calls his normal punch, where he just punches his enemy. He has his consecutive normal punch, where he just punches his enemy multiple times. He has his serious punch, where he just punches his enemy extra hard. And he has a few other stupidly named techniques, like flipping a table or whatever, that just fit his character perfectly. But I'm sure everyone is currently asking themselves how far this idiot, me, thinks Saitama can get in Dragon Ball. And lucky for you guys, that's what the following segment is all about. But first, a message from our sponsors. I lied, I don't actually have a sponsor, I sponsor my own videos. But if anybody wants to sponsor me, any companies, my business email is in the description of my channel. You're always welcome. I will literally sell myself, I will be a literal company whore, just sponsor me, I beg of you, thank you. Okay, so I want to start at Demon King Piccolo, because One Punch Man basically added him into, and he was, to the surprise of no one, obliterated with ease. The entirety of Dragon Ball just would lose to Saitama, with just one exception. Technically, Monster Carrot could beat Saitama. Even if Saitama punches Monster Carrot and kill him, him, he would still turn into a carrot. But by that logic, everyone would lose to Monster Carrot, so I will just use him as a funny honorable mention and not really count it as a place where somebody would lose, because I think that would just be unfun and unfair. But the next villain I want to take a look at is Boros. Boros was still destroyed by Saitama, but he was at least able to survive a few hits, which is a massive achievement in its own right. I personally like to see Boros as the Frieza of One Punch Man. They share several similarities, which makes me feel pretty comfortable with this comparison. But since Boros could not win, Frieza would, in my opinion, meet the same fate. He would lose to Saitama. Even if Frieza were to destroy the planet, leaving Saitama without oxygen and surrounded by space radiation, Saitama would honestly still win. My reasoning for this being that Saitama basically fought and defeated Cosmic Garo under these circumstances. Since I scaled Cosmic Garo to Super Perfect Cell, I also believe that Saitama would surpass the Cell Saga with the same ease as him beating Garo. Next up, we obviously have the Buu Saga if we keep our order, but taking the strongest version of Buu, which was Buuhan, and for those non-Dragon Ball fans who watch my videos, which I don't think are many, but you know, I'll explain anyway. Buuhan is Majin Buu who has absorbed Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, Piccolo, Gohan, and all of the other Z fighters with the exception of Goku and Vegeta. Now, I definitely believe that Buuhan would put up a pretty good fight. Buu's biology makes him very difficult to defeat. He can essentially just infinitely regenerate as long as even the smallest speck of him remains. This regeneration is on a completely, totally different level than Cell's was. He also has his magic, such as turning people into candy. I will note that we have no idea if this would work on Saitama. For all we know, we could have another Candy Vegito episode when he uses that on Saitama, so I won't really count this as a possible win because, you know, it seems kind of far-fetched to me that it would work on Saitama but not Vegito, but you know, that's just me. Like I said before, I think Buu would definitely put up a short but decent fight, but Saitama's ceiling is still so far away that I don't feel comfortable saying that he would just lose to Buu. The one scenario that could happen, I guess, is that he is defeated through a technicality in being absorbed by Buu, but that's admittedly a pretty far stretch. There is the argument that Vegito did not get absorbed by Buu, but the reason for that is because he used a Ki shield, and Saitama is not capable of using similar techniques, so we have to assume that absorption would technically win against Saitama. But once again, we don't know if Saitama has some kind of hack ability that he can just use, so I'm going to give Saitama the win here anyway, but there are a couple of arguments to be made that Buu could win. I will definitely not disregard those at all. Next up on the list, we have the Battle of God Saga. I will be very transparent here and say that I believe wholeheartedly that Whis could defeat Saitama. Just like with Saitama, Whis just has no known ceiling as of yet. I mean, if you count the Grand Priest and the other angels, I suppose they are technically stronger than Whis as well as the Omni King Zeno, but we haven't seen Whis struggle in a fight at all, just like we haven't seen Saitama struggle in a fight anyway, just at all either. But Saitama versus Beerus is another story. Beerus is very strong. He could probably defeat Saitama by just using his Akai attack. For those who don't know, this attack completely erases the target from reality essentially, not even a soul remains to get to the afterlife. I believe that if Saitama were to get hit with this attack, he would lose, straight up. If it were up to me right now, this would probably be where I would safely say that Saitama would cap. However, I'm not going to do that. I won't say that he caps at Battle of Gods, and I have a pretty decent reason for this. For starters, even several arcs later, Beerus and Whis are still the strongest entities around, pretty much. During the entirety of Dragon Ball Super, we have yet to meet a foe who is confirmed to be stronger than Whis, and there's also the fact that we don't know the ceiling of Whis or Saitama. For this reason, I have decided to just give Saitama his own unique ranking on the tier list. The simple reality is that we cannot say how the fight between, let's say, Saitama and Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku would go. Saitama is written to be unbeatable and Goku is written to overcome all challenges that come his way. And let's all be honest here, Goku and Saitama probably wouldn't even fight, they would just have lunch, have fun and just have a great time together. But this was a very fun video to make. I know that there will probably be a lot of people who are not satisfied with the conclusion that I have drawn here, but I have come to terms with the fact that I can never please everyone in these types of videos. Dragon Ball fans will often say that I am too lenient on the characters in discussion, whilst fans of the subject anime that I'm talking about, in this case One Punch Man, will often say that I am way too strict on said anime. In the end, this is all just my opinion and everyone is entitled to an opinion of their own. What I do love to see is people debating in the comment section down below. Let me know how far you all think that Saitama would get in Dragon Ball. I am very curious to see what other people think about this scenario. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more similar content in the future, please subscribe and hit the bell icon to never miss another video ever again. And I will see you all in the next video.